Mexico. Hello, USA. Hello, around the world. I'm Henry T. Welcome to Henry T. Game Face Live, Comcast 26, and Big Bad ProView Network. The Henry T. Show. Man, we're graduating. We're moving up. All those entities. The audience is huge. My heart is going like this. And I've got that throat feeling. I'm not in the ProView studio today because I thought I better take care of my throat. Been a little bit under the weather lately, but man, I'm raring to go. And because I'm not in the studio today, we're going to go back in time and we're going to do an encore. And the encores was somebody very special. Somebody that you love and have loved for a long time. He's the only Lobo basketball player to wear the uniform number 00. He hails from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Norm Ellenberger went back there to recruit another player, but he found Petie Gibson. Wow, what a moment. And Petie became one of the most popular Lobos ever. And still to this day, he's recognized all around New Mexico as 00. Let's go to that interview right now. Here is 00, Petie Gibson. Out there, New Mexico, across the country, wherever you might be. I'm Henry T. And man, I'm fired up to be with you here today. Man, I've been a sportscaster a long time, but I still want to do this stuff. Was away for a while for the business, taking care of mom, and that itch is still in me. I mean, I remember back in the days when I was a college student at the University of New Mexico. And I said, what do I want to do? And I was taking physical education courses and all of that, but something kept pulling me towards the game, broadcasting. And of course, being involved with the Boys and Girls Club back then, there was just something that kept pulling me into broadcasting. And one of the reasons that pulled me so hard is because I was trying to describe in the bleachers by myself the actions of one of the greatest Lobos of all time. In fact, I say the best ball handler that you and I ever saw in the pit, Petie Gibson, 00, the only Lobo to ever wear the number 00. Remember the great teams that Bob King had? Petie, magnificent magician, outside, getting the ball to stretch, to Sanford, to Howie Grimes. What a team, huh? Wow. Petie's with us today. As we feature Petie, we're going to get Jimmy Collins from New Mexico State, but Jimmy's got a little illness going on today. So we're going to do it all with Petie. It's always a pleasure to talk to this guy, and rewrote the book, revolutionized elementary school physical education with his creativity, his kindness, the way he treated kids, the way they respected him. The gymnasium at La Mesa Elementary, named after Petie. He has made his mark with children and the Albuquerque Public Schools, one of the greatest Lobos ever. I know I go on, but the resume's this long. I say good morning to our friend 00, Petie Gibson. Petie, good morning. How are you, buddy?
Good morning. I'm feeling good, man. Glad to be on your show, man.
Man, it's a blessing to have you. You know, we've come a long way. We used to have every class together at UNM.
Yeah, just about, man. Just about.
Amen. How are you really? Literally, how are you doing?
Feeling good, man. Feeling good. Staying hunkered down. Trying to follow the guidelines of the state.
What do you think about this virus?
Oh, it's a disease from hell. I mean, it's affecting everybody. We need to take it serious, man, and adhere to the guidelines. The economy will bounce back, man, but you need to live to fight another day, Henry.
Yeah. And you being the prudent leader of your family and children, making the good decisions throughout your life, I wouldn't expect anything less from you than to be taking care of business right now during these hard times for the world and America and your neighborhood. Way to go, Petie.
Thank you.
Petie, how'd you find New Mexico? I've asked you before, but it's a compelling story how the great Bob King and Norm Ellenberger found you. What a blessing to us Lobo fans that they went to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. What were they looking for there?
Yeah, they did. Our team was real successful, Henry. In my years in high school, we made it to the Final Four each year. So we were real successful. We lost one game in our city in 3 years. And one of the main reasons was we had an outstanding All-American by the name of Kenny Durrett, who ended up going to LaSalle. And we decided we were going to go to school together. And of course, he was the main attraction. So practically all the schools we visited, it was basically because he was the draw. And whenever we would go, we would scrimmage or play against some of the other All-Americans that were invited on that weekend. And the coaches would see me and they would say, oh yeah, no problem, no problem on the package deal. So Norm and Bob, they came and recruited us. We had went to UTEP the year that they won the national championship. And I don't know, the heat kind of shied us away from coming to the Southwest, Henry, to be honest with you. So we were going to go to Niagara in New York with Calvin Murphy.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. At the last second.
Calvin Murphy.
Yeah. Yeah. At the last second, the coach didn't come in and we didn't have any time to wait. So he ended up going to LaSalle. And there was a guy who recruited on the East Coast. His name was Ace. He recruited for New Mexico. And he said, you know what, you got a fine point guard here. I think you should take him. And New Mexico was looking for a point guard at that time. And so that's how that was done.
How good were you then? What did you do that dazzled Bob King and Norm Ellenberger?
I believe our team was so successful because we knew our roles, Henry. We had kids that shot well. I was pretty good defensive player. I really worked hard in that area and really sharpened my craft as far as dribbling is concerned, and would get our team in the offense hardly any turnovers. And that's what I brought to the table. And, looking back, those are the things that make you or allow you to win championships when people know their role and do it well. And so our record was outstanding and everybody had a part in it. Bob and Norm saw that I could handle that. We played a team from Uniontown, Pennsylvania, who were as tough as nails. My junior year, we beat them in a double overtime game. And they pressed the whole game. So the news reporters mentioned in the pregame articles about me not being able to handle the press by dribbling through it. All year, whenever we got pressed, they'd give me the ball and I'd break the press. Our coach took us out of school early and had us practice at Carnegie Mellon just to work on an offense to try to beat their press. I mean, it was tenacious. They beat everybody through their press. Extremely quick guys, probably remind you of Hobbs. That's who they press you till your tongue. That's who they were. So the first 3 times that they got the ball, the 3-point shot wasn't included yet, and they hit 3 threes, and they pressed us and stole the ball from us. And coach called timeout, And my boy Durrett, he said, Coach, we didn't get here trying to run the offense that you just showed us. He said, let's get the ball to him, meaning me, and get out the way. And so I couldn't wait. I was a junior. I couldn't wait for that opportunity. And that's exactly what happened. You know, we had to beat him in a double overtime. But I mean, you know, the game did change once we went to that.
Petie, you were a magician. We've never seen a ball handler. We've had great ones here. I don't want to discredit them at all.
Mm-hmm.
But then I tell you what, if we asked every Lobo fan to vote, strongest point guard we've ever had, 00 would win the vote. And man, that says a lot, because, you know, we had some great ones here.
Ton of them.
You know, one, for example, Kelvin Scarborough. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
You had that neck.
Oh, yeah.
Who inspired you to handle the ball? Did you recall?
You know, the guards from Uniontown were very, very tough. They were very, very tough. Matter of fact, the year before we won state, I tell you what, we made it to the semifinals my sophomore year. And the great Norm Van Leer played for Midland.
Wow.
Okay. And Uniontown had beat Midland when I was a 9th grader. And so they were extraordinarily good ball handlers. Most of them played football and basketball, so they were very strong kids.
Gee.
And I picked up some of their game. And then, of course, against Norm Van Leer, because Norm was a senior when I was a sophomore. And he was an extraordinarily good ball handler. Very, very hard to guard. Tried to steal a ball off of him numerous times. Couldn't do it, buddy.
All right. Let's get down to it. What were the words that Bob King or Norm expressed to you about what you were going to do as a Lobo? They showed you pictures of the pit, brand new facility. What was it, bottom line, that sold you on being a Lobo?
Well, first of all, scholarship, man. You know, we visited so many schools, University of Miami, UTEP, we were all over the place. And we got to a point where we had to make a decision. And then once I started getting literature about the university, oh man, I guess it was like a year. It had only been built a year before I actually came, because I came here in 68, 2 years. I think it was built in 66, you know, so just the dynamics, man. You know, I mean, it was like overwhelming. I mean,
Packed house every game.
Our gym, Henry, held 100 people in my high school gym. And we would get people in that little matchbox, and well, we averaged 100. We averaged 100 most of the time. We beat a team 136 to 42 without the three. So they froze the ball so we wouldn't beat them by 100, Henry. I mean, we would put it away.
Amazing.
So,
coming from 100 seats
to
16,000.
Yeah, I was about ready to faint, literally.
Starting lineup when you came and you were bringing the ball up the floor to feed who? Who were the guys out there that were your teammates as Lobos?
Well, you know, a freshman couldn't participate with the varsity, so when I made it to the varsity level, Keith Griffith was a starting point guard.
Really?
Yeah, we had to share a bunch of the time. Pretty much my freshman year, my sophomore year. When I did get the nod to start, it was Becker at the 2, and then Shropshire, and then Willie was coming in. Willie was coming in off the bench. He was 6 man, and then Stretch and Sanford. That was the squad.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the squad. And you know, it was a tough squad, Henry. I think this, Henry, that Bob would have just let us go. If he just, he was a perfectionist, and when I say that, it has to be included in how intelligent of a coach and man that he was. Heavy disciplinarian, great defensive player.
Yeah.
Coach, team coach. Offensively, we were predictable. And I think this. I think if we'd have had the freedom that some of the later Lobos had, we would have blown it up, because at that time, Arizona State, Colorado State, Utah, Brigham Young, that was the whack. It was rough. Arizona State, it was rough. It was rough. But the big games, Bob would let us go because it was difficult to run the offense that we ran, because most of the time we were getting pressured. So we had to really ad-lib and create. And that was my game. So when we played in New Mexico State, I didn't know very much about them. The people rev you up and they talk about the rivalry and this, that, and the other. Well, it was just another team, as far as I was concerned, a team that was in our way, and we wanted to beat them. I did, the first time we played them, there was a guy, Jeff Smith, who was 6'9". I had played against him in high school in the Johnstown War Memorial Stadium. He played for Camden.
Right.
When I was a senior, and they beat us by 3. So when I came on the floor, I said, oh, I know that guy, and I said, I'm gonna get even with these guys simply just because of him. And a lot of pictures that I have show him pressing. He was on the top of the press, because what they would do, they would bait you in to try to lob that ball, and then Charlie and Jimmy would steal it from behind. I think that's the only reason I can think of why he was on top of the press.
Who was the Aggies' big man then? Sam Lacey?
Lacey was in the back. Lacey was in the back on that press.
Good team.
Yeah. Oh no, and the funny part about getting back to what you asked me about, who did I deliver the ball to? It was Stretch. Okay, because the first time we played New Mexico State, I think Stretch had like 36 or something like that.
Wow.
I mean, I had a bunch of assists. Sanford got injured in a PE class, so he didn't even make the trip the first time we played New Mexico State. And Willie got 19 boards when we went down there. He got 19 boards. So this is what I thought about New Mexico State. They didn't think we were as tough as we were. And it was early in the season, because it was like December-ish, and but we could go with what we had. We could go, but I give a lot of credit to that New Mexico State team, because that year, I don't know if you realize this or not, they only lost 3 games, Henry.
Yeah.
They made it to the Final Four. We beat them twice. The only other team to beat them was UCLA.
Wow.
And they took third. They took third in the Final Four because they beat St. Bonaventure.
Yeah.
Jimmy and Charlie, the UCLA guards could not handle them. They were tough. They were really. I hope Jimmy's okay. I wanted to be able to say that to him, because I haven't had hardly any verbal contact with him. I don't know where Charlie is or any of those guys or anything, but it was just a pleasure. It was a pleasure to get ready for him and to compete against, talent of that caliber. It was.
How good was Stretch?
Stretch was.
36 against the Aggies.
Yeah,
He did the same against Arizona State and all those big teams.
No, I played against Stretch in high school. And like his team was in our city, and like I said, they never beat us in 3 years, but Stretch average 30. He would get his.
Wow.
No. He was a player, and a lot of what catapulted his game, Henry, along with Kenny Durrett, was that Connie Hawkins, he was around us at the local YMCA because he had gotten blackballed from the NBA. And so he was living in Pittsburgh. So when we'd go to the local YMCA, we would play against Connie. And so they had to up their game to compete against him. That's one thing that helped both of those guys.
You know, that was the new era of the modern days of Lobo basketball.
Uh-huh.
And you were part of it. You're an amazing talent. Willie Long, Stretch Howard, Sanford.
Yeah.
Wow. Howie Grimes.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, but getting back to that team, Henry, my sophomore year, we played Temple. We beat Temple that year. I got the MVP in the Christmas tournament. Well, they won the NIT. They won the NIT that year.
NIT was big back then.
Big. It was big. We beat them, and then we beat State. So as far as our resume was concerned, I really felt, after understanding everything, we were on our way. But you got to play within the system.
The Lobos, let's put it down.
Yeah.
Pound for pound, one of the best teams in the country. Yeah. What a resume. Yeah. Using your word.
Yeah. Yeah. And the year before they had a fantastic team with Nelson and basically the same team. They were very tough. The offense supported the strength of what they were doing at that particular time. To me, that's what I saw. And, everything was a go, and it all worked. And then that next year, my freshman year, we only lost one game, Henry. We went 15-1. And most of the guys on that team were walk-ons from PE classes. I don't know if you remember Armando Reyes. You remember Armando Reyes?
Yes. Okay. His brother was Chito Reyes.
His cousin. Yes.
Yeah.
Chito. Right. Well, Armando was a walk-on, and it was Ken Otney who had a scholarship, and then a couple other guys, and we beat Trinidad Junior College. I beat them on a last-second shot in the pit. That wasn't the first time I hit that last-second shot. I hit that shot on them, and when we went to Trinidad, they beat us they killed us. They beat us by 30. And they were huge. They had a kid, Tom Crosswhite, who was 6'8", Spencer Haywood, 6'8".
Wow.
They had a dude named Bird from Detroit, 6'4". Wally Davis from Detroit, he was 6'1". They were like, I don't know what they were ranked for as the junior college level was concerned, but we beat them in the pit with our squad. With that squad I'm telling you about. They were
What
tough.
made Bob King the great coach that he was?
His mind, Henry. His mind. And the preparedness. I mean, he got you ready. He got you ready for what you were about to face. Because I was literally green. I didn't know, the magnitude of what the whole thing was about. I mean, I had played big games in Pennsylvania, like the Dapper Dan, the Dapper Dan was the what's the big game now that they have for the high school kids?
McDonald's.
Yeah, it was, instead of McDonald's, it was the Dapper Dan. So my senior year was Dean Memminger was one of the guards, and I want to say Roach, who went to South Carolina, was one of the guards. Howard Porter, who went to Villanova. I want to say they had Jim McDaniels in the center. And then this dude, he used to come on the All in the Family. When they would go bowling, Howard Sylvester, he was 6'9", he represented Alabama. Yeah, that was their squad, you know, so that was a tough squad. If all those guys would have went to the same college, they probably would have won a national championship.
One of our viewers, John Martinez, wants to know the difference between Bob King and Norm Ellenberger.
Norm let it go. Norm let those guys go. You know, Norm sat under Bob and probably realized that at some point, you know, I'm going to let these guys go, because like what happened is we were averaging 100 points a game in high school. And sometime I would almost get called for a 10-second call, getting the ball over half court. Okay. So when in high school, I would get the ball and literally go through you, and we would get a layup, but you had to stop me first. See? And so that was the difference. Norm got Russell. He had great Marvin Johnson, Cooper, and those guys, Willie Howard. They just ran. They ran. You know, Will Smiley, Jimmy Williams, they just ran. You know, that was the deal. And if you look at the teams at the national level, yeah, UCLA, they went into Jabbar, okay? But they did a lot of running with Lucius Allen and with Mike Warren. And they had shooters in the corners, Wicks and Shackelford in the corners.
Yes, wow.
They pushed it up, and they ran a 3-quarter trap, you know, and they would try to get you to turn it over. You're not scoring on Jabbar once you break it. So they kicked it up. You know, that was the difference. That was the only difference. You know,
a friend of yours, Dave Romo, just called in and said,
Dave Romo?
He said, what a gentleman Petie Gibson is, Coach Gibson. He said he's really enjoying the interview today.
Good.
And the way you present yourself, and knows you as always being a man of kindness and integrity.
Well, you know what, Henry, like I had as much fun at times playing at Johnson Gym and playing against the local talent here in New Mexico as I did playing Lobo basketball, because I made this my home. You know, I can go down the list of all the guys. Johnny Brooks was a monster. Okay.
Yeah.
Albuquerque High. Like I played for Appliance City and Furniture. That was the men's basketball team that I played on when I finished my career. And so I was out in the public, and I would run into a lot of the guys that played here. We had great games. I had great games with the 6 foot and under competitions that they used to have. That's when I first played against Rocky.
Yeah.
Rocky and I we used to battle. I haven't seen him since he's been back, you know, the COVID and all that, but Rocky was strong, Henry. He was a good basketball player.
Under 6 foot basketball league.
Yeah, it was.
Appliance City.
Yeah.
With the Gallegos family.
Exactly. That's who it was. That good family there.
Amen.
They took me in and, you know, just treated me like family. It wasn't nothing that Johnny Gallegos and his wife wouldn't do for me, you know. And then Dickie, of course, I see him. Eddie's passed away, and you know, we are all good friends.
Freddie Trujillo just called in and said, great guest, fascinating man, Petie Gibson.
Yeah, I appreciate
it. Says, thank you for being on the show today.
I appreciate that.
A whole lot of people. Mike Romero, who is 5'5", out of Bernalillo High School, smallest high school star ever in the state of New Mexico, calls you the greatest point guard ever.
Okay, Mike is tough. Mike was a tough point guard. I played against Mike in the small man's tournaments.
Yeah.
We battled, believe me.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He was tough guard. Tough. You could see, you know, he worked on his game. You know, good shooter, good passer. Very, very, very good guard. Very good guard. I don't even hardly remember seeing him in high school. You know, I just remember when he and I used to battle.
Man, he was good.
I had most of those guys like Mike and some of those other guys. You know, I had some years on them. Probably why my knees are suspect right now. You know, I didn't know when to quit. Just like you know, it's in your blood. You know, one of the good things that I like is I had the opportunity to, you know, share my faith with a lot of the guys. That was my platform. You know, there was a guy. His name was T. His last name was Webb, and we started a ministry at Bella Vista back in the day. Actually,
wow.
probably it was he died of lung cancer. William Webb, he was the girls basketball coach at Rio Grande one year, and
Fred Montez just called in. Says that Petie Gibson, classy guy, nice enough to. I mean, what a great example you were to the youth of our community. Wow. He calls you his favorite Lobo ever, Fred Montez.
Good.
Great compliments for you.
Yeah, you know, I appreciate that, Henry, you know, and, you know, I'm not the only one. I mean, you know, it's like so many great players, Greg Brown, Phil Smith, like you mentioned, Calvin Scarborough, Russell Saunders, Dale Slaughter. I mean, there's been so many guards that have come through here.
Fred wants to know why, how you got 00.
Norm. It was Norm. Norm, when we were getting numbers, and in high school my number was 50. Well, that's a football number. You know, in junior high was 11, and I didn't know what number to pick. And he said, why don't you? He said, I think 00 would stick with you, and I didn't want it. You know, he said, no, he said nobody has 00 in the country. You know, and I said okay. You know, I said, all right then. You know, and I took it. You know,
I can picture that first meeting when Norm came up to you and said, 00, Petie, how about it?
Yeah, no, yeah, Norm. Norm is a good guy, man. I miss Norm.
I'm writing a book on Coach Ellenberger. Give me a quote right now. Who was Norm to you? What kind of coach was he? What kind of friend did he become?
Well, you know, as an assistant, he just mirrored what the head coach's agenda was. You know, I mean, that's who he was. Like the president of the United States, and you got the vice president. You know, they're gonna go along with the program. And you know, Norm was younger than Bob, so you know, you could talk to him about some personal things and stuff. You know, the adjustment was real tough coming from Pittsburgh to New Mexico by myself, other than Stretch, you know, who I played against in high school. But Norm, you know, was a confident guy. He was wise. You know, always open to give good advice. You know, because you know, let's face it. I grew up in a single parent home, and you know, my coaches were like my mentors. That's what it was, and I'm sure that's everybody has that story. You know,
yeah.
The kids that I coach, I really connect with them because I see the things in them and their struggles that I went through. So now I'm not bouncing around trying to figure out what I should say or do. It's spontaneous. My reactions on point, and I don't BS them. You know, my school, my elementary school at Alamosa, Henry, we have won 247 games and lost 12 since
wow.
I've been there at that school. You know, that's our record, you know, and those kids have come and gone. I had two boys who won a Trisco Heritage back-to-back championships. That was the first kids that I had who actually won state. And I went to the second year they won. they beat Santa Fe, and I sat on the bottom row. And one of my things that I would tell the kids is, I'm going to push you until the wheels go off the car, and I'm going to push you, you know. And so Santa Fe had a real good support group, you know. I mean, everybody came down for the state championship game, but
Wow.
stood up and called those kids names, and they looked over, and I got that eye contact, the same eye contact that I had with them when they were in fifth grade. When they were in fifth grade, to let them know, I always got your back. That's important, especially when kids, the kind of challenges the kids have coming, even today, you know. I mean, you know, if they know that you're really seriously, truly in their corner, they'll play for you.
Amen.
They'll play for you, and they'll listen to you, and they'll do what you tell them to do.
You were the father figure to many of those young men you coached at Alamosa.
Mm-hmm.
They leaned on you. You said, hey, we need better grades. Man, they went and made better grades. Hey, you're acting up in class. Come on, I get it together.
Right.
The teacher just told me you're the class clown. You straightened it out right now.
No doubt. No doubt. And that's why winning's not everything, okay? But when you have a successful program, the bar is raised and kids want to be a part of that. So they'll give up that foolishness to be on that team. See, when I was at La Mesa, I left La Mesa after 31 years. We were 72-5 when I left that school. So when I went to Alamosa, I started fresh. Same kind of kids. But the thing of it is that the principals that I had, they worked with me, they supported me. People like yourself, you came to La Mesa, you let the kids broadcast individually, speak on your show at La Mesa. You came and did the play-by-play at Alamosa one day. The coaches, all the way back to Dave Bliss, Richie McKay, Alfred, whenever they introduced the old timers at the pit, halftime of a game, I go to support the program, but I also go to maintain a relationship with the coaches so that my little kids can come in there and meet the current players and get on that pit floor for 30 minutes and take shots.
Wow.
See?
What a thrill.
Every year, last 12 years, every year. And we take pictures and we you know, they make promises to me that they're going to go to college, even if it's not the University of New Mexico, wherever, you know, to improve their situation.
Amen.
So I give them heartfelt responses to what I went through, see, and that makes it real because they say, oh, I thought you had it like this all the time. No, I didn't have it like this all the time. I had to work for it, you know? Nobody's giving you nothing. So when you get on the court, bring your A game, 100%. If you mess up, so what? We get it again. That's what life is about. No perfect person. You know? You make mistakes, man. And once you make mistakes, turn it around so you land on your feet. That's what it's all about.
Way to go, Petie.
Start that game is how you end it, Henry.
Wow. Hey, listener wants to know, viewer, how far was the buzzer beater against the Aggies? True story.
Right side of the key. I got on that same interview that you did at La Mesa. I have that shot. It's the right side of the key. It was over Charlie. Okay, I'm gonna
Charlie
say,
Chris.
Yeah, it was over Charlie. It was a tight game. We're up 2. Tight game. Surprised me because we blew them out down there. But you know how the around is. I think it's not even a week before you play them again. You know, and so they didn't shake our hand. I was going to ask Jimmy what was up with that. You know, the first time I think they were number 6 or something like that first year because they made it to the Western Regional Finals. My freshman year, I went and I sat with Lucius Allen and Mike Warren, just trying to get educated about college and the direction that, you know, I should take. You know, I was interested in the way they played and this and that. And it was Santa Clara, New Mexico State, and UCLA, my freshman year in the Western Regional Finals.
Yes.
Okay, so New Mexico State, they were, you know, they were there. I don't remember how many they won or whatever, but it was the experience factor. Okay, so when we played against them, they didn't care nothing about me. You know, I'm a sophomore coming off the freshman team, you know, so, but I was ready though, you know, I was ready. And so after we beat them pretty good. I think maybe I had 10 assists. I don't know. You know, I didn't really care. You know, I mean, when we played them down there.
But you were ready.
It's just a matter of me doing the role, man, you know? And so I didn't care if I was hitting Stretch or I was hitting Willie or I was hitting whoever. That was part of what we did. That and I felt like I scored 50 points after that game, as long as we won. That was main objective. I didn't care how many points, you know? And if I was able to deal with the point guard, and I had my hands full with Charlie Chris. Charlie Chris was an amazing, amazing guard, strong. Kind of remind you of Phil Smith, but shorter, you know? But the thing is that, you know, after the game, you know, we're looking to shake hands. There wasn't no handshake there, you know? And so, you know, so the next time we played them, they came out, they even looked different. Facial expressions, you know, I mean, it was like murder. It was a rough game, you know? And so we were up 2 and they pressed us and Stretch threw that ball away, okay? He threw the ball away and Charlie hit a shot on me and it tied it up with 5 seconds to go.
Wow.
That's how the game went. And so Becker was a 3-point shark. If the 3-point line would have been in place, Becker would have scored like, I don't know how many points. He could shoot from distance, man. He could really shoot. He was a zone buster. What I would do was just penetrate. I would penetrate and jump up. I knew where I was going. I was trying to hit Becker, you know, so he can get that shot off. And that's what the plan was. So, and I'm not sure if they weren't ready. I don't know if they were in a man. I don't know what they were doing, but I got the ball. And when I got the ball, I took a couple of dribbles and I looked, well, Becker was covered, you know? And so I had enough awareness to realize that, like, I got to get a shot off. And I went to my spot. See, a lot of people would say, you know what? That was a half court. It was a Hail Mary. No, that was a shot that I would shoot on the top of the key, or right or left side of the key. And I rose, you know, and hit that shot, you know. But Henry, here's the deal. In junior high, I beat Stretch's team on a last second shot. I beat Trinidad on a last second shot. In New Mexico, a last second shot. When, you know, there's certain people who want that last shot, not just to shoot it, but you're gonna, because I only had 2 points. I shot 3 times in that game. That's the only, you know, I shot 3 times. And so that was the last shot I shot, you know, and it went, and I made that shot, you know, and the thing of it is that was my shot. That was my shot, Henry.
So you practiced that shot.
Oh, that was my shot. I mean, that's where I felt comfortable shooting. I wasn't a
How much time on the clock?
0. It was 5 when I got it. It was 5 when I got it, and counting down. And counting down, you know.
And Charlie Chris was guarding you?
Yeah. Yeah. And he was, you know, he was leery. He was afraid of fouling me, of course. It's a tie game, you know. And the thing about it, we were close to the same size, but, you know, I could dunk that basketball.
Wow.
You know, I mean, I could dunk.
True.
So for me on my jump shot, a guy gave me a tip. He told me, he said, you know what? He said, you can stand under the basket and you can grab the rim with two hands. He said, you're not going to be able to dunk because the dunk rule was in place. You remember?
Yes.
You could not dunk. And he said, you can't palm the ball. He said, if you get a breakaway, maybe you could dunk, maybe you couldn't. I try to dunk, I dunked 1 out of 5 tries, you know? But he said, what you could do is when you're on defense, when somebody shoots, try to jump as high as the rim. When you take your jump shot, try to jump as high as the rim. Then you're getting the maximum effort out of your jumping ability.
Wow.
So my jump shot, I tried to really get up on it. And if I played against a guy who was a jump shooter, I would challenge him with that. And most of the time, it was a guy 6'3", 6'4". We played Brigham Young. I guarded a guy 6'5" all the time. The Arizona State kids were 6'2". The only time I ran against the smaller guards in the WAC was Archibald. Tiny Archibald. He was 6 feet, 6'1".
UTEP.
Yeah, most of the other ones were, you know, they were way taller than me, but
I have a word here right now that says the shot was 70 feet away.
no.
See, year after year,
Yes.
that distance of that Lekin shot
No.
gets longer and longer, Coach.
You know what? And the thing of it is, if it would have been that, I'd have been just as happy. You know, long as we won, I did not care. You know?
Realistically,
Oh, man, no, it was a
3-point line. Was it? If the line would have been there, would it have been a 3?
No, it wasn't even the top of the key. It was the right of the key or the left.
Really?
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna record the shot, and I'm gonna send it to you.
Yes.
So you can see it. I'm gonna record it, so you know. You know, I mean, it is what it is.
Why does that shot get deeper and deeper every year?
People like to exaggerate, you know? I mean, they like to say, well, man, it was this or it was that, when reality puts you in check.
The biggest thrill you had as a Lobo, share it with us.
Guarding Tiny Archibald.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was. It wasn't the Mexico State game. I mean, the magnitude of the shot is there because at the end of that season, they were ranked number 5 in the AP poll and number 4 in the coaches poll. So that had to be a big shot.
Yeah.
But preparing for Archibald, because I didn't know he was a record legend. You know, I did not know that. You know, what happened is we would travel with UTEP. When UTEP, we would leave the Sunport together. Well, you know, we'd leave together and they would play Colorado State and we'd play Wyoming. And then the next night they would play Wyoming, we'd play Colorado State, and we'd come back together. And, you know, even at a young age, you know, basketball was something that I used as a relational platform. I like to meet the other guys.
Yeah.
Talk to them, you know, and stuff like that. Because one day basketball is going to be over. That's why, you know, I'm sorry that Jimmy's not available, you know. But the deal is I sat with Mike Schweitzer. Mike Schweitzer played with Archibald. And I sat with him, you know, and I said, man, this guy is real unsociable, you know. He said, yeah, he said, that's the way he is. He said, he's always been that way. He said, but I tell you what, he said, you played him better than anybody I've ever seen play him.
Wow.
So I took that as a compliment, dude, especially seeing how the type of player, like they passed the ball around with Haskins when he was there. They passed it 20 times and they take a 10-footer. But how I know this is what happened. See, he went to Kansas City Kings in the NBA. Well, my boy Durrett played with him. And I think Sam Lacey was on that team too. And so
this is such a thrill
let me
all
finish.
those people listening. Go ahead. I'll let you finish the story.
So the rep told me, he said, he said, Tiny Archibald is cold-blooded. I said, what do you mean? He said he was sick before an NBA game. He said, we didn't think he was going to play. And I said, yeah. And he said, he scored something like 51 in me or something.
Wow.
He made, or 60. He made every shot that he put up. And he said nobody could stop him. You know, so getting ready for him was a big challenge. You know, it was a huge challenge because I scored the same amount of points. I stole the ball off of him and scored on him. Then he picked me up down at the other end of the court. And I said, no, it's not going to happen. You know, you're not stealing the ball from me. You know, if somebody stole the ball from me, Henry, to be honest with you, I don't know if anybody ever stole the ball off of me in college.
That's what I mean.
I mean, it was my craft. When I first started playing basketball, I took soda bottles and spaced them 4, 5, 6 feet apart and would dribble in my aunt's basement for an hour because I knew when I would go on the basketball court, my team was depending on me to take care of that basketball and defense the heck out of the other point guard. So when our team was winning in high school and it was near the end of the game, the other 4 players would literally go to one side of the floor. And they had a gentleman in the stands who would bring his kunga drums and he would start playing the kunga. And I would put that ball away with dribbling it through my legs and all that stuff. That was our delay game. It wasn't no 4 corners. It was like, point guard, come here. I'm running a timeout. And if you foul me, I'm going to make them free throws.
Petie,
See?
what a great storyteller you are. But let me finish too. Hey, people calling in right now say, great interview. One of the greatest Lobos ever. Fascinating interview today, Henry. Way to go. People love you, Petie. They'll never forget you.
I feel the same way, man. You know, I feel the same way. No animosity. No, oh man, you know, I don't know, jealousy and all that kind of stuff, Henry. You know why? Because that comes into play, you know, and I was watching The Last Dance with Michael and he is, you know, I saw heavy challenges with him, you know, and, you know, make millionaire shoe endorsements and all that stuff. But, you know, he had his challenges, you know what I mean? And the thing is the most that you can do with other people is what we're doing right now. Is somebody getting to know you and see where your heart is, you know, and when the most important thing is that if somebody listen to me long enough, I'm gonna tell them about Jesus Christ, because I would not be the person I am today if it wasn't for him.
Tell me about your faith.
Well, I got saved September 4th, 1986. So when I was in college, I wasn't, you know. I was raised in a Baptist church with my great aunt, you know, and so as a young guy in a single parent home at 8 years old, 9 years old, I was the man in my house, you know, and so I had to grow up like that. And I grew up in a real tough area called Robinson Court. And, you know, I didn't have brothers and sisters. So a lot of physical confrontations that I experienced, I got jumped a lot in fights, you know, which as I look back, it's part of my upbringing for real, you know. So I didn't really depend on no one else. I had myself. I had a tight partner that was like a brother to me. You know, he was the closest person in my life to be my brother. He was very competitive. His name was Ronald Wright. We played basketball, baseball, we did everything together. I mean, you know, if a guy was too big, we'd jump him, you know. But the thing is that when I came here, you know, my support group was limited. I didn't have very many. I didn't know very many people, you know. So I started leaning towards the Bible. You know, a lot of time passed. A lot of time passed before the Holy Spirit got a hold of me. You know, and you know, and I know that when the Holy Spirit gets that grip, you're going to go ahead and go for it, and you're not going to play around. And then all the things that you did, and you know, up until that point, you realized what it was all about. You were being shaped and molded into who you become before you take the last breath on this earth. You know, and so that's important. You know, no matter how many shots, no matter how many steals, you know, and this and that, but the Lord prepared me through basketball to be able to have conversations with people who, you know, who you don't know. You know, like my wife and I, we went down to a shelter. We but we volunteered to work at a shelter. I saw a whole lot of guys that were down and out, you know, But you know what? I didn't judge them. And I was happy to be able to give them a plate of food.
Wow.
That right there is a servant heart. See? Because, you know, wasn't no COVID, wasn't nothing like that going around, but it was people who were in need. You know, so my wife, she would help another lady cook the food, and we would go over and feed those people for an hour. You know?
You seem like such a peaceful, content, happy man today. Is that accurate?
Well, yeah, because that's who I am. And that's who I am with the people I'm around that really know me. You know, I mean, everybody, you know, like Pittsburgh, I've been away from there 50 years. You can take somebody out of there, but you know what? You can't take Pittsburgh out of that person. So you want to be guarded to a certain point, you know? And so people that you don't know, 9 times out of 10, they're going to get a different opinion than the way you are.
Wow.
They will, you know, but, you know, when somebody like yourself, we go way back, you know, you stepped up at La Mesa. You didn't have to come over there and do a interview with me, with those kids. You did. You know, that's your job, but you did it, you know. You know, when I was at Alamosa, yeah, you came up there and did a play-by-play. You know, you had me on Be Inspired, your program, many times. And now here, you know. And my thing was, you know what, there's a lot of young guys that, you know, would like to be on your show. You know, I'm taking up space. That's how I felt.
No way.
Yeah.
You're a loved, respected man in our state.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always a thrill for me, your buddy, to sit here and talk to you about whatever comes up. That's it.
All right, Henry.
Thank you, Pete.
God bless you.
God bless you. Wow. Petie Gibson, all-time Lobo, voted as one of the top 10 Lobos of all time. Man, the only thing I missed out was not being able to broadcast his games, bringing the ball up the floor for the Lobos, because he literally was indescribable. Thank you for all the great, all the messages today, and all the thousands of people are out there. And I say it with no reservations. And if you have any suggestions for me, for guests, write them down. Send me a message on Facebook, and we'll do it. And thank you to Action Compaction, Chuck Jackson, and all our sponsors, Amestoy family. Wow. Pierre, thank you. You and Dad and your youngsters helping me the way you have over the years We're here at the Hydro Bar. Great water. Oh man, I drink it all day through the night. It just cleans you up. Everguard Roofing, thank you so much. Kevin out there at the canteen, putting all that delicious food for our youngsters and all the school grounds. My goodness. And just the Zot Pros. Indigo Mortgage, Ben Lucero, former great athlete at Mayfield High School and the University of Missouri, one of the greatest high jumpers our state has ever seen. Ben Lucero, you see his commercials, you hear him talking on the radio, know that Ben Lucero at Indigo Mortgage was a great all-state record-breaking high jumper at Mayfield High School in Las Cruces. Went on and missed the Olympic Games by that much. Less than an inch. And he would have been at the Olympic Games. Amazing people backing us here today. Beautiful, beautiful story. So that's it. We got some stories coming up. They're going to grab your heart. But today was a special one, having the incomparable Petie Gibson with us. Henry T, Game Face Live. Wow, what a thrill to be here. See you later.
Good. Go ahead, Henry.
Wow, the great Petie Gibson. Thank you, Petie. People love Petie Gibson all over the state. And today, he's right there in your living room, right there in your office. Thank you to ProView. Thank you to Comcast 26. And thank you to all the staff down there at ProView putting this on. And my special producer, Jimmy Tran. And Aiden Atencio will be on, our little intern. He'll be on Wednesday right here, along with Mike Adams, broadcaster, ring announcer, do everything guy. Tim McCorkle, principal of a high school, former great baseball player, coach, you name it. Ken Medley, one of the great athletes of our time, will be right here on Game Face Live. Henry T, Game Face Live. Hey, in my own studio today, have to be careful because of the COVID. Have the sore throat for a few days. I feel good. I feel safe. Nobody around. God bless you. Thanks for watching. And we'll see you again on Wednesday right here. Henry T, Game Face Live. Only this time at 11:30. See you later, New Mexico, USA, around the globe. Take care. Until next time. See you later.